Unity of Houston is an inclusive church where we seek to understand and live the teachings of Jesus and other spiritual masters. At Unity, we welcome all people from all spiritual paths and every walk of life. We celebrate the diversity of our city and of our world, and we teach love, tolerance, and oneness, seeking to live in harmony with open minds and open hearts. Wherever you are in your spiritual path, you are always welcome at Unity. Join us and discover that the life of your dreams is already within you.
I'm so grateful tonight that 2 weeks ago, as some of you know, I couldn't even be here for the service. I had the flu and I had 102 temperature. I was coughing, I was suffering. And I'll tell you, the resurrecting power of Spirit at work within me, that I'm able to even sing this song tonight. I'm just so grateful that it showed up, that my voice is back, and that I'm able to share that song with you. That song means a lot to me. I practice it, and I tear up, and my throat clenches out. There's something, such a powerful message in there. The future of the world inside of me. Do you think about that? The future of the world inside of you? Well, it has to be, right? And we spend so much time looking at what's in front of us, challenges or things that we're facing in front of us. And we can forget that the great potential for all that is in us. It's waiting there to be revealed. There's another line in the song that touches me, and it says, I carry with me heaven's grand design. We're all built with this grand design of the Christ consciousness within us, a spark of divinity that we unfold throughout our lifetime. And if you're not experiencing that grand design in your life right now, perhaps you're at a moment of it unfolding, a point of decision, a point where you're transitioning from the old into the new. In our November Wednesday Night Live series, we have been working through the process of healing what needs to be healed through the changes that have happened in our lives from the hurricane, from different challenges we've had this year, and stepping into what's new, what's coming up. And so last week we talked about arriving in gratitude. We arrived in gratitude for all that was and all that is to be. And now we're preparing to celebrate the season of Advent, a season of preparation, a season where we look to see what's next. So, what is next? What's next, God? What's next? We don't always know where our Spirit is leading us, do we? And sometimes this uncertainty can leave us feeling blue. You feel blue when you don't know, what's happening? I don't know. I feel like my life is kind of in this in-between place. And we're at the beginning of our holiday season, and the festivities of the holidays can lift up our spirits. But if we're going through some big challenges in our lives, it can feel like the lights of the season seem to remind us that within us we feel a sense of darkness or emptiness or separation, or something is missing in our lives. They call this a blue Christmas. Have you heard of that? Blue Christmas, like the Elvis song, Blue Christmas. And so I just want to take a moment to honor you. I won't make you stand or raise your hand, but if this is a time where you feel like you're going into the holidays and you've faced a lot this year and you're not really feeling in the holiday spirit, I want to us to all enfold you in prayer. So those of us who are feeling in the Spirit, we're going to send you our blessings. So I just invite everybody to close your eyes, take a deep breath. And we just know, dear ones, that the light and the love of God are enfolding you in and through this holiday season as we move forward to the celebration of the birth of the light of the Christ within. And just knowing that we're honoring you in any feelings of sadness or loss or grief that you're experiencing this year. At this time, know that you are loved, that you are deeply, deeply seen and loved by this community. You're loved by God, and that you're divinely supported every step of the way. And so we bless you, and we know that in and through this experience, God is revealing the highest good and blessings and peace and light. So we say thank you. So it is. Amen. I share this talk with you tonight, out of the blue, it's my title, to remind you that whatever you're experiencing now, that life can change in an instant. Have you had that experience where things just don't seem to be going right and suddenly something shows up and everything changes? Well, that's how Spirit works sometimes. This out of the blue is moving you into your next great expression of who you are. You're transitioning from the old into the new, and there's something calling you to step into your future and to experience the birth of something new in you and in your life. Now, we know something out of the blue happened to a certain young woman named Mary, right? In the Gospel of Luke. Are you familiar with that story? Have you heard that story? The Annunciation of Mary. Mary was a young woman who lived in Galilee, a town in Galilee called Nazareth. And Nazareth was just an ordinary town. Nobody expected anything great to come out of Nazareth. Ordinary people, ordinary working people, working town. And Mary was just an ordinary girl. And we know that she was just ordinary because when you look in the Gospels at the story before this Annunciation, it talks about how an angel appeared to Zechariah to tell him that Elizabeth was to bear a son, was to bear John the Baptist. And when the angel greets Zechariah, the angel honors Elizabeth and he as people of advanced status, of religious honor. But when Mary is introduced and the angel shows up, there are no honorifics for her. Mary's just an ordinary person, and the writer of Luke describes her as a virgin engaged to a man whose name is Joseph. The virgin's name was Mary. And she was most likely about 12 or 13 years old at that time. And I picture her, it doesn't say where she is in the gospel, but I picture her in her bedroom. I don't know, maybe because of all like religious depictions, you see her in different places. I picture her maybe in her bedroom. She could be in a garden, some pictures are like that. I picture her, and this angel shows up. And have you ever heard anything about what angels are like when you see them? Like you can't see them, they're so bright, like it's really light. So the angel Gabriel appears to her and says, "Greetings, favored one, the Lord is with you." And the Gospel says, Mary was much perplexed by his words and pondered what sort of greeting that might be. And I thought, much perplexed? I mean, that sounds like an understatement, right? Like, I think she was probably freaking out, right? And I guess Koine Greek doesn't have the word like freaking out. But, like, right? I mean, wouldn't you think like a regular, ordinary person, ordinary 12 or 13, and this big, huge, bright angel shows up in your room and says, "Greetings, favored one," you know? And what would you do if an angel were waiting in the back seat of your car, or like in your kitchen when you're getting ready to make dinner, or over in your office? If you're busy trying to meet a deadline at work, or to care for a sick child or a sick parent, or there's a critical conversation you have set in your mind that you know you're planning to have, you're getting ready for it. Or maybe you're just tired and you have a couple hours to just veg in front of the TV and just relax. And then this angel shows up and says, "Greetings, favored one, the Lord is with you." Seriously, I think I would have freaked out a little bit. Anyway. And so the angel goes on. Clearly, Mary had a situation, because the angel says, "Don't be afraid, Mary, for you have found favor with God. And now you will conceive in your womb and bear a son, and you will name him Jesus." And okay, now Mary's like, "What?" But it doesn't say that in the gospel. It says, Mary said, "How can this be, since I am a virgin?" Seriously, I think that she must have said, "What?" But, like, she was 13, right? Like, what? You know, I mean, we know she didn't go, "Jesus Christ," because he wasn't there yet. So the angel said to her, "The Holy Spirit will come upon you, and the power of the Most High will overshadow you." This is how she finds out how she's going to get pregnant. "Therefore, the child will be born holy, and he will be called the Son of God." That's like, wow, okay, overcome me, and that's how she got pregnant. The Annunciation is the ultimate story in the gospel of God's big surprise. And God's messengers showed up in the most ordinary of situations for the most ordinary person, Mary, to let her know that the divine presence was within her and all around her. And have you ever had an angel show up in your life in unexpected places? Sometimes annunciations don't always seem like good news, do they? I mean, Mary, she got pregnant out of wedlock. That wasn't good. This was going to be very difficult to explain to her fiancé, Joseph, to her parents. Yet, she knew there was great potential in this experience of this child coming into the world, that he was going to do amazing things. This child brought a whole new purpose to Mary's life. Now, any woman who's carried a child knows that experience of when you first have that feeling of that child within you, and you're like, how can this be? It's like a sense of wonder. There's a sense of fear. I mean, have you heard anything about labor? Like, oh no, you know that's coming. There's a bewilderment about it. Metaphysically, angels represent our God thoughts, the divine guidance that we hear within us. And our guidance can lead us to exciting things, to new adventures, and the next step in our lives. Yet the steps that we need to take to move into that can be difficult. And we have to choose if we're going to move forward, to move on. We've all faced a moment of decision where we have to move through something painful in order to experience a greater good. And I think about like the angels that have showed up in my mind, in my path, especially in ministry. When I first heard my call to ministry, and I was like, wasn't expecting it at all. It happened at a church service, and I knew that I was going to be a Unity minister, and how is this going to happen? Where do I have to go? What do I have to do? What classes do I have to take? And so there was fear, and there was excitement, and there was like a little confusion. It's like, all right, Spirit, I'm going to follow this and move forward. And I found out I had to go to this place in the middle of the country. I was in New York. Go out into the Midwest to this place called Unity Village, which was out in who knows where, in a farm, and take these classes. You're supposed to, well, okay, Spirit, I'll go. And some of the leaders of our church were going, and I got to go with them, and they introduced me to people, and it was wonderful. There was like some fear around it, and then it turned out great. And how is this all going to happen? Eventually, I got a job at the church, and so I changed my career around, and that was like, oh, I have to leave what I know and try something new, and then that was great. And then it was like this time of year, about 6 years ago, and I was in New York, and I had been taking classes online, the ministerial program, and it was like, you need to go move to Unity Village to take classes. I thought I was going to take classes online for a while and just, do the working and take an online class and move there eventually. It was like, no, you need to go next semester, like in a few weeks, like 4 weeks, I think it was, or 4 or 5 weeks. I was like, oh my God, like, how am I going to change? I have to leave my job. I've got to move there. I've got to find a place to live. I need to get a job there. And it was like, there was excitement. It was like I knew that there was a time, and I knew I needed to get there at that time to be in the certain classes I needed to take in order to graduate when I wanted to graduate. And so I went, and there was a room that opened up for me, and I ended up getting a job at Silent Unity, and things like unfolded. And I tell you all this for the point that when I've heard those divine messages come to me, and the first reaction is like, how, what? And then like, I don't know, it's all, and then it's just take the step, and things just like unfold. But there's that moving through that change of, what's going to happen here? Is this going to work out? Or should I really be doing this? I think that Mary went through a lot of that. And then she came around to the sentiment that was expressed in that song that I think just so beautifully captured how Mary just really said yes and stepped into that next step of her greater unfolding and purpose in life. And I know that there's something new that Spirit wants to birth into your life, into all our lives. And anyone knows that it's difficult, it's painful, and a messy process to give birth, okay? Yet Jesus said, you must be born anew. To experience the fullness of the life that we've come here to live, there are changes that we're faced with making, and there are growing pains. The great 14th century mystic Meister Eckhart advised, tend only to the birth in you, and you will find all goodness and all consolation, all delight, all being, and all truth. Reject it, and you reject the goodness and the blessing. What comes to you in this birth brings with it pure being and blessing. But what you seek or love outside of this birth will come to nothing, no matter what you will or where you will it. So we need to pay attention to what it is that's wanting to be born within us and know that it is good and it is a blessing. And take our attention off that which is not growing, which is not working, which is less than our good. I had a great blessing on Thanksgiving. My husband and I did that. We got to go to a movie. That's a big deal for parents of a toddler. We got to go to a movie on Thanksgiving, and it was really great. And it was one of those movies that I thought, after I saw it, I said, if I could make a movie, I'd want to make a movie just like this. And the movie is called Wonder. Anybody seen it? Wonder? Yeah. It's a new movie with Julia Roberts and Owen Wilson, and it's about this boy who's 10 years old, and he was born looking different than other people. He had his condition, and then he looked different, and his mom just sheltered him from kind of the world and homeschooled him, and when he was 10, he faced a decision, and he decided, you know what, I want to know what it's like to live the life of a child my age and to go to school and to be with other people. And I know that it's going to be difficult, and I want to do it. And he had the support around him. And he got there, and he had the space helmet that he wanted to wear. He didn't want anybody to see his face. He was so in fear about this decision, and he was encouraged, take the space helmet off and move forward. And the thing that got him to take his helmet off was his sister leans into him and says, you can't blend in when you're born to stand out. Say that with me. You can't blend in when you're born to stand out. Breathe that in. You're born to stand out. You're born to stand out. This kid was born to stand out, and he had to learn that in his experience of going to school. I'll try not to, spoil the movie for you. But he faced his biggest fears. Kids did make fun of him. He did have to sit alone at lunch. It was really hard for him. And what happened was, through that experience, he learned to love himself and honor himself more, and that he gave the kids in that school the opportunity to learn kindness, to learn compassion, to learn what it's like to be alongside somebody different, and that's great, and that they have something great to offer. It really had such a wonderful message. They realized how wonderful he is, and he realized himself what was so great. Right, yes. We all have something, I think, about us that we think is different, right? And that's what I think that movie speaks to, that we think, I need to blend in order to fit in, and I don't want people maybe to see that about myself. But it's that very uniqueness that you are, that we each are, that the world is calling for, right? That Spirit is wanting you to express in the world, wanting you to stand out. And has Spirit called you to do something, and you're afraid to do it because you don't want to stand out? And perhaps it's your standing out that will make all the difference. I mean, when you're pregnant, you stand out, right? I know, because I was pregnant here at this church, and you couldn't hide it. And first it starts out where you just look kind of wrong and weird, like there's just a little, your clothes are tight, and it's like, is she pregnant? Is she not pregnant? And then you get to a point where you're really showing, and people are like, yeah, you're pregnant. They get so excited. You move past that awkward stage. And so there's just always that when you're moving into the birthing of something new, that little awkwardness, that little uncomfortableness that you've got to move into the excitement of the new life that's on its way. So how do you know if you're spiritually pregnant? Okay, so this applies to men and women, right? We're talking about spiritually pregnant, because we're all birthing. This is the season where we're talking about birthing the Christ consciousness. We're all birthing something new. And perhaps the angel has come to you in a very ordinary setting, in your car, as you're driving. I get a lot of inspiration sometimes when I take a long drive and something comes to me and go, oh, that's it. Or when you're in the supermarket or in your office, angel coming to you saying, get ready, something great is coming into your life. And so I want to encourage you tonight to go for it. That when you hear that angel that says, there's something great for you to do, there's something next for you to do, there's something that you need to step into, yes, you've got to do this, this, and this, and you're going to be divinely supported all the way. And you've got to trust that, and you've got to ask for what you need. You've got to step into it. And so you may have to face some difficult decisions, and you will need faith. You will need to lean on the guidance of Spirit. I want you to know that you're a wonder of the universe. You're unique, and you have something to contribute that will make you stand out, just like that kid, Augie Pullman, in the film. That'll make you stand out. And so you want to accept that uniqueness that you are, to love it, to accept yourself through the process, and to trust that Spirit is going to show up out of the blue, and guide you into your next great adventure. Get it? Adventure. Adventure. So let this Advent season be a great adventure for you as you step into a greater knowing of the Christ that's being birthed in you. And so I invite you to affirm with me, I am a wonder of the universe. I am a wonder of the universe. The future of the world is inside of me. The future of the world is inside of me. I was born to stand out. I was born to stand out. I say yes to my next great adventure. I say yes to my next great adventure. And so it is. God bless you.
Thank you for watching this message today. I'd like to invite you to join us in person here on campus at Unity of Houston for Sunday morning or Wednesday evening services. If you can't be with us here on our campus, you can still join us live on Facebook or on our website, unityhouston.org, Sunday mornings at 11 a.m. Central.